organized by ISKCON Sydney. Yeah. Today we will be discussing from 3rd Canto, 13th chapter, Appearance of Lord Varaha. So let's sing Jai Radha Madhav and then we will discuss the Prasana. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Sudana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Yashodanandana Brajajana Manatira Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Hare Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Parthathi Radha Parthathi Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय श्रीला गुरुदेव की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंद गोप कुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. So today we discussing from third canto, 13th chapter, appearance of Lord Varahadev. Yeah? So let's read from verse number 45. So 3, 13, 45. If you want to bring it up on your phones, or if you have the Srimad Bhagavatam with you. Yeah? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Savai bata bhrishtamati's tvaeshate. Savai bata bhrishtamati's तव एषते यह कर्मणां पारमपार कर्मणा यह कर्मणां पारमपार कर्मणा यद योग माया गुणयोग मोहितम् यद योग माया गुणयोग मोहितम् विश्वं समस्तं भगवन् विदेहिशम् विश्वं समस्तं भगवन् विदेहिशम्. Word by word translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sa, he, vai, certainly, but, alas, bhrashtamati, nonsense, tav, your, eshate, desires, ya, one who, karmanam, of activities, param, limit, apar karmana, of one who has unlimited activities, yat, by whom yog, mystic power, maya, as in potency, guna, modes of material nature, yog, mystic power, mohitam, bewildered, vishwam, the universe, samastam, in total, Bhagavan, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, videhi, just be pleased to bestow some good fortune. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Lord, there is no limit to your wonderful activities. Anyone who desires to know the limit of your activities is certainly nonsensical. Everyone in this world is conditioned by the powerful mystic potencies. Please bestow your causeless mercy upon these conditioned souls. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The mental speculators who want to understand the limit of the unlimited are certainly nonsensical. Even one of them is captivated by the external potencies of every one of them is captivated by the external potencies of the Lord. The best thing for them is to surrender unto Him, knowing Him to be inconceivable, for thus they can receive His causeless mercy. This prayer was offered by the inhabitants of the higher planetary systems, namely Jana, Tapa and Satyalok, who are far more intelligent and powerful than humans. Vishwam Samastam is very significant here. There are material world and the spiritual world. The sages pray both worlds are bewildered by your different energies. Those who are in the spiritual world are absorbed in your loving service, forgetting themselves and you also. And those in the material world are absorbed in material sense gratification and therefore also forget you. No one can know you because you are unlimited. It is best not to try to know you by unnecessary mental speculation. Rather, kindly bless us so that we can worship you with causeless devotional service. Srila Bhaktivedanta purports ki jai. Let's do Manglacharan to get the blessings from Guru Parampara, from our Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Savadetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubha Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhuter mahadbhiryayma puro vibho Nirmaya shete yadamosha purusha Bhunte gunansho dashatmakam Solankasrashta bhagavan vachamsi me Shri Krishna Sharanaagatam Katha amritam satat pibatam Bhakti Vedanta Margapantanam Sarvalok Rishi Deva Janma Prasannam Sarvalok Rishi Deva Janma Prasannam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. So like I said, this chapter is titled Appearance of Lord Varahadev. And in this verse, as Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, that all the rishis, they are offering prayers. Actually, they start offering prayers from verse number 34, and they just continue glorifying their Lordship. But this is sort of conclusion of the prayers. So in this prayer or in this verse, essentially what all the rishis or all the exalted personalities who are living in Janalok, Taplok and Satyalok. Yeah. So all these three lokas, they are glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what they are saying is, rather what they are acknowledging is that, my dear Lord, so they're saying that the people or the living entities who want to, so basically he's saying survey, but word is very very important here. It means with a sense of dejection. So with a sense of dejection, as in oh my dear Lord, something that you're trying to put across And after so many attempts, still people don't get it. It is with that sense of dejection. Yeah. So because in this pastime, their lordship took the form of a boar or a varaha or a shukar. Yeah. So some people, they already anticipated, and this cycle is continuing. We'll talk about the timing of Lord's appearance, but really what they're saying is that, my dear Lord, those people, they are brushed mati. Their intelligence is completely brushed, is polluted. Yeah. Polluted is maybe may not be the right English translation, but brushed, if you understand Sanskrit or Hindi, then you can make it out. It's completely brushed mati. Yeah. Very, very sense of dejection. My dear Lord, they are bhrashtmati. And why they are bhrashtmati? Because they are tav eshitai. They are desiring to do what? Karmanam param apar karmana. They want to get and know the limit of someone whose actions are unlimited. How you can find the limit of something which is unlimited. So there are people who are trying to do that, and that's what they are saying. And not just that your actions are or are like, limitless. They're trying to find the limit, but at the same time they're also acknowledging yad yoga maya guna yoga mohitam. By his mystic powers, all the gunas, the maya, and the mystic power. So twice this word has come in this shlok, third line. Yad yoga maya guna yoga mohitam. By whose mystic power? The mystic power itself. Very important. By whose mystic power? The mystic power itself. And all the gunas and maya, they are mohitam, they are bewildered. Yeah. But they are still praying. This is still saying, Vishwam Samastam Bhagwan Videhisham. Okay, my dear Lord, please bestow your mercy upon all the living entities. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, not just lower planetary systems, even the higher planetary systems of these living entity in these three planetary systems, Janlok, Taplok, and Satyalok. We all know how Brahmaji got bewildered. He wanted to know who Krishna is, who is this little child that Brajvasis are worshipping him as a god. Yeah. So that is the gist of this verse. So let's go back and see how and why this pastime happened. Yeah. So what happened is, Guruji Mataji, in 3.11 we discussed the various calculations of the time. We went through that, and then Maitreyaji continues speaking to Vidurji, and then Vidurji had already asked about the creation. So now Maitreyaji starts speaking about the creation, and then he tells him that I will tell you now. Yeah, Yatha Srakshin Nibodh me. How the creation happened, I will tell you. Yeah? And then he tells him how Brahmaji appeared, and then Brahmaji had his sons, Marichi, Adi Rishi. Actually, before that, the Sanat Kumars. So he asked them to have progeny, but they refused. Then Brahmaji got upset. Then Rudra appeared from his krodh, from his anger, and then Rudra started creating the creation, and then he created everyone like him, and then they were so furious, they were so scary, those creatures. So Brahmaji stopped Rudra, that no, you stop it. And then Brahmaji had these Marichi Adi Rishis, and he instructed them. But still the population wasn't increasing. The population wasn't increasing, and Brahmaji started thinking that how is it that this is not happening? And this is a very important point, Prabhuji Mate. This is the creator, you can say. Brahmaji is also called Vidhi, even though he's got powers from the Lord. He's the first entity then who creates. So right from that, so if you and I, we are facing any problems, while doing something. So don't be discouraged. Even our great 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 grandfather, the first living entity, Brahmaji, who is Swambhu, he himself faced that problem. And then what did he do? Then he started thinking, and then he concluded. He concludes that Devam atra vighatakam. Daivam atra vighatakam. He says that there is something Daiv. This is the Daiv yoga, as we say. You know how and you know how we have three kind of miseries. Adi Daivik. Yeah. So Brahmaji is also experiencing that, and he acknowledges that this is atra daiva vighatakam. Ghat is in attack, you can say, or impacted. So he says this is definitely some Daivik arrangement that this is not happening. And as Brahmaji was thinking about it, then two personalities appeared from his body. And those two personalities, one of them was male and other was female. Yeah. So the male is known as Swambhu Manu. Yeah. And he is appeared from Swambhu Brahmaji, or he appeared without, you can say, without the without male and female. So he is also Swam. He appeared. Yeah. So he is called Swambhu Manu because he is Brahma's son, or appeared from Brahma, who is Swambhu. So that's why he is called Manu. And Mata Shatrupa. Yeah. So they appeared from his body, and then they appeared from his body, and they are called Kaya, Kayam. Yat Kayam Abhi Chakshate. So Maitreya tells Vidurji, because Brahmaji is known as Ka. You know how we have Keshav. So the Keshav, the first word Ka means, refers to Brahmaji. So it actually basically Ka is Keshav, Ka is for Brahmaji, then then Lord Shiva, yeah. So and then Vishnu. So basically all these three, they have appeared from Keshav Dhrita. Yeah, they have appeared from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Ka is for Brahmaji, and because they appeared from Brahmaji, so they were called Kaya. Yat Kayam Abhi Chakshate. Yeah. And then as they appeared, then we know they had 5 children, 3 daughters and 2 sons. And by the way, I also want to clarify here, they are not sons and daughter of Brahmaji. Yeah. They are 2 separate entities, and they appeared from Brahmaji's body. Yeah. Once again, same thing as the verse we are using. Yeah. Yah karmanam param apar karmana. So don't try to put logic into this. That is today's verse. If you start putting some biological logic behind this, then we will not get anywhere. Yeah? Because this is come from the scripture, this is come from Srimad Bhagavatam, we accept it as is. Yeah. So Manu Maharaj and Shatrupa, they became husband and wife. They have 5 children, 2 sons, and then 3 daughters. Yeah? And then it says that through male-female association, then the population increased. Population of the whole world increased. Yeah. Now Shukdevji is telling Parikshit Maharaj that Vidurji was so keenly, so happily absorbing all these pastimes, all these conversations. He kept asking from Maitreyaji. Now this is Shukdevji telling Parikshit Maharaj. So Vidurji now asked Maitreyaji that after Manu Maharaj and Shatrupa, now as they became husband and wife, what did they do? Yeah. So this is where chapter 13 starts. Yeah. So now Vidurji is inquiring from Maitreyaji, what did Manu Maharaj and mother Shatrupa, or his wife Shatrupa actually, yeah, what did Manu Maharaj and Shatrupa did? Vidurji is asking. And here Vidurji also makes a statement that someone who is glorifying Bhagwan Mukund, yeah. So he says that Tat Gunano Shravanam Mukunda, Tat Gunano Shravanam Mukunda, पादारविन्द हृदयेषु येषाम् पादारविन्द हृदयेषु येषाम्. So Viduruji is saying to Maitreya, even though he is asking, but at the same time he is also giving a lesson for all of us. He is saying we should hear tat tad gunanushravanam. Yeah? We should hear gun, the qualities, the activities of, and anushravanam. Again and again we should hear the activities. Yeah? In whose hrideshu yesha, in whose heart who is Mukund Padarvind. Lord Mukund's feet and Arvind, in whose heart Lord Mukund's Padarvind are there. Yeah? And so their activities we should hear again and again, again and again, again and again. Yeah? And Mukund means Muktin Dadati iti Mukunda, who can give us the liberation from this cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. We should become a servant. Servant of a servant, in that parampara. Yeah. So in whose heart Lord Mukund's padar with lotus feet are there, their activities we should hear again and again. This really pleased Maitreyaji. Maitreyaji felt the hairs on his body stood up, and he himself felt so ecstatic to speak. Yeah? So Maitreyaji then starts speaking, and Maitreyaji tells Vidurji that now after Shatrupa and Manu Maharaj and Shatrupa, now what they did is, now both of them stood in front of Brahmaji with their folded hands. Yeah, Pranam Anjali. Yeah, as in with the folded hands. Yeah, and with full submission, Pranatascha. Yeah, so with folded hands, with full surrender, they stood in front of Brahmaji, and then they asked Brahmaji that my dear Lord, what shall we do? Rather, they first says to Brahmaji that, my dear Lord, all this creation, all the living creatures, yeah, you take care of them, as in like you provide for them, yeah, and you help them sustain themselves, because Brahmaji creates, yeah, he creates the srishti. So the living creatures, we rely on the things which are supplied by the Prakriti. Even though Brahmaji is a servant, he is doing it on behalf of Supreme Personality of Godhead. But once again, Prabhuji Mataji shows that we should always glorify our superiors in that disciplic succession chain. So Manuji tells Brahmaji that all of these living creatures, they are supported by you. You are the source of their subsistence. Yeah. So please tell us, what shall we do? And he says, Tathapi Prajanam na. Yeah. Prajanam as in praja. Ja as in born. Yeah. All these born living entities who are born from, you can say, we have various type of process, andaj, dvijas, as you know, born from egg, born from male, female, yeah, born from sweat, born from seed. So these types. So Manu Maharaj saying is that everyone, he says, Tathapi Prajanam na. Prajanam as is others, na, he says us also. And he's saying, Te Shushrusha Kena Va Bhavet. Yeah, with folded hands, with full surrender, they go in front of Brahmaji, glorify him, acknowledge his superiority, and then they ask him that, please tell us, how can we serve you? Shushrusha, Te Shushrusha Kena Va Bhavet. Yeah, how can we be of service to you or good service to you? And when they say that, then it really pleased Brahmaji. And Brahmaji then tells Manu Maharaj that I am very pleased that you have fully surrendered unto me, and you are asking the instructions, you are asking for my instructions. I am very pleased with you, my dear Manu, the king of the whole universe. Actually, Maitreya describes him as Adi Raj, Raj Rishi Adi Raj. So he is the king of the kings. And Adi, he's the first. He's the first Raj Rishi Adi Raj. So he is the Raj Rishi as well as king of the kings. So Brahmaji appreciates his attitude. And then Brahmaji tells that both you and your wife, you should go and help increase the population and generate children like yourself. Generate children like yourself who will be worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not me. He's not saying they won't be worshipping me, as in Brahmaji is not saying. But Brahmaji is telling him, see, this is right from the beginning. Very important, Prabhuji Maharaj. Right from the top, the first creature, the first living entity is telling the next one. And Manu Maharaj, as you know, we are all Manushya because we have come from Manu Maharaj. So we are all indirectly Manu Maharaj's, so he is our forefather in that sense. Yeah. So Brahmaji tells him that generate children who are as good, as qualified, as intelligent like yourself, and so that they worship Supreme Personality of Godhead. They have a devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at the same time, Brahmaji, like I said, Brahmaji appreciates the attitude of Manu Maharaj. So Brahmaji tells Manu Maharaj that Eta Vatyatma Jair Etavatyatma Jair Veera Karyahi Apachiti Guru. Yeah. Etavatyatma Vair Jair Veera Karyahi Apachitir Guru Shaktya Apramatya Shaktya Apramattai Griyeta Sadaram Gatamatsara. So very important instruction. Before Manu Maharaj starts creating, so Brahmaji tells him 5 important things. He says, first in the first part he is saying Atma Jair Veera. Yeah. Etavatya Atma Jair Veera. Atma Jair is from whom you are born. Yeah. So this attitude of from whom you are born, and then he addresses him as a Veer. So the real sign of Veerta is, sometimes we say valor. Yeah. So your valor is of no use, is of no good if you are not able to serve or respect the person that we are born from. Yeah. Atma Jair. And then he says, Karya hi apachitir guru. Yeah. So he says you should certainly endeavor to perform the activities, yeah, which will be in reverence, apachitir guru, in reverence to your superiors, to your fathers, to your spiritual master. All the superiors are covered. So that's what he is saying in the first one. Atma Jair Veer. Yeah. Karyahi apachitir guru. And then 5 qualities, then 5 important points he is classifying. How you should perform those activities? He is saying Shaktaya, with full capacity. So if you have a capacity of 5, you should not use capacity of 2. You should go wholeheartedly, you should go and perform activities. How Srila Prabhupada, master, to go and print the books. And then Srila Prabhupada, you know how Srila Prabhupada was so particular about publishing the books. I tell you, very nice pastime. That really helped. Once the devotees in America, Srila Prabhupada was traveling, and as Srila Prabhupada came back, they had prepared a record. And they had prepared a record, and the record was for Mukunda, as in, some bhajan and I think Gopinath. Yeah. So they had prepared a record of Gopinath, like a CD or whatever the storage medium was at that time. And they were thinking that we will distribute that along with the book, and it can generate some revenue. Obviously, their motive was to generate revenue and to use it for the temple or for spreading the Krishna consciousness. So they had done that. Now Srila Prabhupada comes back. They go and take darshan of Srila Prabhupada, and they play the record. Prabhupada hears the record, appreciates it. Then Prabhupada asks them, okay, what are you going to do with this record? And then who was the leader? There were 3-4 of them. And then they said, Prabhupada, we're thinking we will, when we go for Sankirtan, we will distribute this. We will give it to the people whom we meet on the screen, on the street. So Prabhupada said, okay, you can do that, but I don't want my book distribution to be impacted by this much. Okay. So now you're looking from the front, yeah, as you see my finger. So as Prabhupada said this, he said it with some sort of, you can say, like heavy instruction, a bit of sarcasm, and then the people, devotee who were sitting in the front, they could not see the gap. Prabhupada said, my book distribution should not be impacted by this much. So they could not understand. But the Prabhu who actually did the recording, he was sitting on the side. So he said, I could get a clear vision from the side. So if you see from the side, so this much means no scope. The book distribution should not be impacted by this much. And that Prabhu said, the people who were sitting in the front, they could not make out what Prabhupada is saying. They were saying, what Prabhupada? What? And then that Prabhu sitting there, he said, I could easily make out what Prabhupada means. And he kept quiet. And then after that, they left the room and they said, then we never spoke about record or anything. So they got the message that how particular Srila Prabhupada was about the book distribution. Yeah. So that's the point, Prabhuji Mate. That's what Brahmaji is mentioning here. That shaktaya, with full strength. Yeah. So that's the. Then the second saying is apramattai. Pramatta means insane. Yeah. Now sometimes we want to go full strength. Yeah. But full strength doesn't mean you just go and jump from the rooftop. As in, we have to do saneful actions. Somebody will say this person has gone insane. Not insane, but sanely actions. Yeah. So with full strength, sane actions like intelligently. Then the third point he's saying is grihiyet. Grihiyet as in fully understand. Not just for the sake of doing it. You're doing it with full strength. You're doing it with full sane, but grihiyet as in get it to your heart. Yeah. Fully it becomes part of you, that instruction. And once again, same example, what Srila Prabhupada got from his Guru Maharaj to distribute the books, to spread the holy names, to go and preach in the West, and to go and preach in English. So he did that. And then the third one is sadaram, with full respect, adar. Yeah, giving full respect to others. Trinadapi sunichena. Yeah, you're doing the instruction, but it doesn't mean we go and disrespect. Even if you're right. So we have to have respect for the superior as well as the people who are receiving, respectful to them also. And then the last point is very important. Gat matsarai. Yeah. Matsarai is matsarya, as in enviousness. So you see, Prabhuji Mataji, Brahmaji, once again, so this concept of being envious is not something new. That doesn't mean they were envious, but Brahmaji could anticipate that down the line, as the time comes, people will be envious of each other. People will not appreciate what others are doing. They will be hankering for prestige and all the opulence for themselves, and they will not see others' progress. They will try to create impediments. Even Indra becomes envious. We have heard so many pastimes. So this is their Prabhuji Mataji. But Brahmaji was right from the beginning. So such an important lesson for us. So the first creator, Manu Maharaj, Brahmaji telling him, Gat Matsarai. Gat as in gone, without any enviousness. And then you do it. Yeah? Now as Brahmaji spoke to Manu Maharaj accepted those instructions. Manu Maharaj and Mata Shatrupa, they accepted those instructions from Brahmaji. And then Manu Maharaj asked Brahmaji that yes, we will perform these actions, but please tell us the place. Yeah, the place is Sthanam. Yeah, he's saying the place where we should go and live. Yeah. And sthanam for he's saying sthanam iha. Yeah. Sthanam tab iha anujanihi prajanam mam cha prabhu. Saying, yeah, we will go and create, but please tell us sthan anujanihi, please tell us the place for me and for the created beings that we're going to create for them, where they will go and stay. Anujanihi. Yeah, Prabhu. Because the reason he's asking is, he is saying yadokah sarvabhutanam. Yeah. Mahi magna maha ambasi. Yadoka as in of the place to live. The place to live for sarva bhutana, for all the living, of all the living entities, of all the creatures. The place Yadoka sarva bhutana, and what is that place? He says Mahi. Mahi as in earth. Yeah. Magna is submerged. Where? Maha Ambasi. It is because the place to live for everyone is submerged into the Garbhodakshai ocean. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says Maha Ambasi, he is referring to Garbhodakshai ocean. Yeah? Because that has gone there. And now Manu Maharaj then he further states that he says Asya Uddharane. Yeah? Asya Uddharane, yeah? Dev Devya. Yeah? Vidhiyata. Yeah? Asya Uddharane Yatano Dev Devya Vidhiyata. He says Asya, now he's pointing to the earth. He's saying for the earth, for that place. He says for that Uddhar, for the upliftment of the earth. Yeah, Dev Devya. He's addressing to Brahmaji that you are the Dev and you are the Devya of all the, you are the God of the gods, in that sense. Vidhiyata. Yeah. Please help us, because only you can perform that for us. Yeah. So Manu Maharaji request Brahmaji that earth, which is the place of living, Yadoka, for all the Bhutanam, living entities, is submerged into the Maha Ambasis, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Please help us for the upliftment of the earth. Now Brahmaji starts thinking that, Mother Earth is actually not there. So he realized that, because so far he has been praying and he's busy. So now we will get to the point about Mother Earth coming up, but we'll just look at some history perspective also. Yeah. So Prabhuji Mataji, last, like I said, we discussed about the time. We had 2 sessions on the calculation of the time, and there we discussed how when the pralaya happens. So now you are familiar with Brahmaji's day and night, kalp. Yeah, one day, one kalp, Brahmaji's day and night. So, and at the end of the kalp, we also discussed there is a pralaya, and in that pralaya, what happens is that all the planetary systems up to the heaven, they start burning. They start burning for 36,000 years, celestial years. They are burning, and then there is torrential rain and wind for another 36,000 years. So literally all the planetary systems below Maharlok. And I also mentioned that when the fire is burning the heavenly planets, up to the heavenly planets, the residents in the Maharlok, they shift themselves to the Janalok. It's like moving from 3rd floor to the 4th floor. So Maharlok is there, but it is empty, and the residents have moved to the Janalok. So now the residents, as in the purport also Prabhupada mentioned, the resident of these 3 lokas are there: Janalok, Taplok, Satyalok, or Brahmalok, Brahmaji's lok. So they are there now and they are praying. So Brahmaji now sees Mother Earth is not there. Yeah. So this is definitely after the pralaya, after the kalp. But in this chapter, Prabhuji Mataji, when you read it, Srila Jeev Goswami says, when Maitriji is describing to Vidurji, he has actually, okay, let me step back. Actually, Varaha Bhagwan's avatar. Now there are two prominent incarnations. Yeah, one is called Shwet Varaha avatar, and one is called Rakta Varaha avatar. So Shwet Varaha avatar, Prabhuji Mataji, happened in the first Manvantar. So that's when now Manu Maharaj and Mother Shatrupa is praying. So that's the first Manvantar, Shwet Varaha avatar. Yeah. So the color of the body's color of the Lord is white. That is called white. Is called Shwet. Yeah. In the next, so which happened in the Swambhu Manu, the first Manvantar. Now the another avatar, or Rakt Varaha avatar, it happened in the Chakshusha Manvantar. Now we are in this, which Chakshusha Manvantar is the 6th Manvantar. and now we are in the 7th Manvantar. Yeah. Vevats Manu, yeah, is the current Manu. So Chakshusha Manvantar was the last Manvantar. So essentially, this pastime of their lordship killing Hiranyaksh happened in the last Manvantar. Yeah, and and in this Manvantar, the color of Lord's body is red. So it's called, or golden. That's why it's called Rakta Varaha Avatar and Shwet Varaha Avatar. So these are the two prominent ones. Yeah, just so we understand that. Now, in both the instances, their lordship is helping to bring the earth back on the top. Yeah. So, both the instances, the earth got submerged into the Garbhodakshai ocean. So, whenever the pralay happens, so in that way, you can say that the Vara incarnation happens many times. Yeah. So, whenever the earth submerges after the pralay, it needs to be brought up. Yeah. So now, as Brahmaji saw that the earth wasn't there, so then Brahma, Marichi Rishi, Manu Maharaj, everyone, they started praying. Yeah? Rather, they started thinking what to do. And as Brahmaji was thinking, Prabhuji Mataji, now suddenly Angusht Matram, yeah, a thumb-like creature came out of Brahmaji's nose. Once again, let's not apply our logic. Yeah, that's what these Brahmaji, Marichi, Rishi are praying in the 45th verse that we are discussing today. They are literally praying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose actions, yeah, yah karmanam param apar karman, yeah, we can't find the limit of the limitless action, yeah, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As they were praying, a little creature came out of Brahmaji's nose, and as he came out in front of them, then that creature suddenly started growing, and it took the form of a boar, and it grew, and as it was growing, now Brahmaji and all these rishis, they looked, and they were thinking and talking among themselves, who could this be? Who could this be? Yeah. And they were just saying, is he Supreme Personality of Godhead? Yeah. And as that creature, now, Vara Bhagwan, as he grew up, then he just roared. As he roared, it was such a, strong sound, the vibration. Yeah. Everything started shaking. And then Brahmaji, Marichi Rishi, and Manu Maharaj, yeah, they just kept looking at him. Yeah. As they were looking at him in the appreciation, now their lordship roared again, second time. As he roared again, Maitreji tells Vidurji, it was as if you can say, the sounds, the crying sounds from the mountain was coming. Yeah. Now somebody might say, what is this crying sound of mountain? So literally what that means is, Prabhuji Mataji, when a strong wind is blowing, when these strong winds blow and when they go through these mountains, so then it is that wind which is making those noise. And that's what we say, the mountains are crying. So because their lordship, he came out, and as he was growing up, the hairs on his body were like, quivering. He had what you call, he has those two tusks, those two tooth coming out, and his tail, and they says pari dhunvate, as he was shaking his body, he was roaring. And then as their lordship did that, now all these Brahmaji and Rishis, they started glorifying, speaking the prayers from the Vedas. As they were speaking the prayers from the Vedas, now their lordship acknowledged their prayers, and he roared again. As he roared again, then he jumped up in the air, and he cut through the skies. He cut through the skies, he went up, his tail moving around, and then his whole body shaking. And then he suddenly came down and he dived into the water. As the Supreme Lord Varaha Avatar dived into the water, it says his dive was so strong as if it looked as if he will cut the water into two pieces. And as he dived, so the water that was cut, it came up like there are two arms coming out, as if the ocean came up raising his arms that, my dear Lord, please save me, please don't cut me, please be merciful to me. So ocean was praying, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead went. He went to the bottom of the water, of the ocean. As he went to the bottom of the ocean, he was smelling, because he has taken Shukar avatar. So and the Varaha, because from the Shukar smells, from the smell it recognized. So he was behaving exactly like that. In Chaitanya Charitamrit, Krishnadas Kavira says that Chaitanyer Leela Gambhir Koti Samudra Haite. Chaitanyer Leela Gambhir Koti Samudra Haite. Yeah? Ke lagi, ki lagi, ki kore. Ki lagi, ki kore, keha na par bujite. Ki lagi, ki kare, keha na par bujite. So he's saying that the Leela or the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are so deep, gambhir, and deep as in Koti Samudra Haite. Ki lagi, ki kore. Yeah. What is he doing? For what purpose? Yeah. Keha na par bujite. Nobody can get par. Nobody can understand. Yeah. So Atev, then he says, Atev good earth kichu na jani. Atev good earth, the meaning. Yeah. Good earth kichu na jani. Nobody will know the good earth. Bahya earth kori bare kari tana tani. Yeah. They do not understand the good meaning because they are applying the logic, Prabhuji Mataji. If we start applying the logic as to why the Lordship took the incarnation as a boar, he is not a boar. Yeah. Jayadev Goswami says, Vasati dharani, vasati dasham shikhare, dharani tava lagna, vasati dasham shikhare, dharani tava lagna. Shashina kalanka kaleva nimagna keshavadhrita shukar rupa jay jagadish hare jay jagadish hare jay jagadish hare. Yeah. So he is glorifying that Supreme Lord. He's saying that Mother Earth, so now as the Lordship, he found the earth and he's coming up. And he's lifted the earth and the earth is sitting on the edge, Dasham Shikre. So on the edge of his teeth. So it is sitting on the top of that. And he's saying how it looks. It looks like Shashini Kalank. Yeah, Shashini Kalank Kalev Nimagna, as if a spot on the moon. A spot on the moon looks beautiful. So the spot looks beautiful because it is on the moon. If there is a spot on your clothes, on your sari, on your dhoti, on your kurta, you want to remove it. But Jayadev Goswami is saying this Mother Earth, which is sitting on the top of the tooth, shikhar, as in top of the their Lordship's tooth, it looks so beautiful. It looks like a spot on the moon. Yeah. Nimagna, which has gone into the bottom of the ocean. Yeah. But now it looks so beautiful. So who can get to the depth of these? That is why now all these rishis are saying, they are saying what? Bhrasht matiste. So he's saying their mati is bhrasht. Their intelligence is gone. So as the Lordship is coming up, Prabhuji Mataji, now as he is coming up, here, that is where, so Jiv Goswami is saying, in the chapter you will see, so there is a mention of Hiranyaksh now comes. Hiranyaksh now comes and he attacks the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm running short on time, so I have to rush through, got 9 minutes. So Hiranyaksh now tries to attack the Supreme Lord. At that time, Hiranyaksh, who is brother of Hiranyakashipu. So this is 6th Manvantar. And Shraddha Manvantar is the first Manvantar. But but I'll just, so these two are combined. In the Shvetwara Manvantara, Lordship lifts the earth, brings it and puts it on its place. In the Chakshusha Manvantara, as he is coming up, Hiranyaksha were looking for somebody to fight with. And he first went to Varun, and Varun, they told him, look, I cannot fight. If you want to find someone, you better go and look for, there is a Vishnu. And then as Lordship was taking the earth up, Hiranyaksha tried to attack the Lord. As he attacked the Lord, their Lordship killed Hiranyaksha in the water itself. And as he is coming up, so there was blood on his face, on his body. That is why it is also called Rakt Varaha Avatar. Now as the Lordship comes up, he brings the Mother Earth up and he puts it back into his position. As he puts Mother Earth back into his position, now Brahmaji, Marichi Rishi and all of them, now they start glorifying again. So they start glorifying and they start praying to singing the glories, and they say Jitam Jitam. So they say Jitam Jitam Te Jit Yagna Bhavana. Yeah. So they're saying Jitam Jitam. Yeah. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, all glories to you. May you be victorious. Jitam Jitam Te Jit. Yeah. Yagna Bhavan. Yeah. Who can be realized through the sacrifice only. And he says Traim Tanum Swam Paridhunnate Namah. Yeah, in the second line, they are saying that we pay our obeisances to you because you have appeared. You are the personified Vedas. Yeah. So and paridhunnate, because as he was around and he was shaking his body, so they are saying, my dear Lord, we pray to you. And then he says, you brought the earth, and they say Yadrom from the holes on his body. Yeah, it is source of all the oceans. As in all the Brahmans, they are coming from his body. Yeah, and then they're saying Tasmai Namaka Ransu Karayate. So they say, oh my dear Lord, we pay our obeisances to you because you have taken the form of a pig, form of Shukar. Yeah, Tasmai Namo Karan Sukarayate. So we pay our obeisances to you. And then in the next verse, Prabhuji Mataji, what they are saying is that those people, they are Durdarshanam. Yeah, people who are Dushkrita Atmanam Durdarshanam. He says, my dear Lord, this form is so beautiful, it is so effulgent, but the people who are Dushkrita Atmanam, people who are too materialistic, people who are trying to use the intelligence, who are following the Gyan Marg and all other those paths, my dear Lord, they cannot appearance of this vision of yours. And what to speak of that? Your Bahir Rom Swa. So your Rom, the hairs on your body, they are actually Kusha grass. Yeah. So Prabhuji, we use Kushasan when we sit for offering the prayers or doing the puja. So that is the Kusha grass. So they say when their Lordship shook his body, some of the hairs from his body, they actually fell off, and that became Kusha grass. And as his hairs were wet, as he was shaking his body, so the water on his body sprinkled on these Brahmaji, Marichadi Rishi and Manu Maharaj, and they felt so obliged, they felt so happy that they got this Mahaprasad. Yeah. So this is how Prabhuji Mataji, Lord Varaha appeared. Keshav Dhrita Shukara Rupa Jai Jagdish Hare. He appeared, he brought Mother Earth from the bottom of the Garbhodakshai ocean, and he put the Mother Earth on its place. And then Manu Maharaj and Mother Shatrupa, like I said, so they had 5 children, and then the whole population came from them and from their children, and this is how Lord Varaha came. Yeah, so very important to understand, as Krishnadas Kaviraj says, that the Lord's Leela, they are very gambhir, like Koti Samudra. So we cannot understand through the mental speculation. So the only way to understand is through offering prayers, through having good association. Yeah, as Vidurji told Maitreyaji, that we should hear about the activities of the people who are carrying in their heart Mukund Padarvind. Yeah. So with that, Prabhuji Mataji, it is 8:30. I would like to thank ISKCON Sydney management team, Her Grace Mathura Gokul Devi Dasi Mataji, and everyone else who gave their time to give us your association today. Yeah. Lord Varahadev ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Hare Krishna.